Hello, this podcast contains spoilers for Back to the Future and The Terminator. You did it. You've successfully made the time machine. You've travelled back 60 years, back to your grandfather's youth. You'd step outside and look around, but something's not right. A crowd looks in horror at you, or rather, behind you. You look back and see that the time machine had landed on a boy. You're shocked as you realise you've killed him. A woman calls his name. Robert! Robert! You feel a knot in your stomach. It can't be. Did you? Did you just kill your own grandfather? Hello. What you heard is one of the most famous time travel paradoxes, the grandfather paradox. It's simple to understand. You go back in time and you somehow accidentally kill your own grandfather. Now, with your grandfather gone, there's no way for your father to exist, and so you yourself never come to existence, meaning you never could have gone back in time to kill your own grandfather. It's a paradox, because if you kill your own grandfather, you could have never existed to kill your own grandfather. But if you wanted to go back in time, first you need to understand that time isn't as straightforward as it seems. It isn't a straight line, moving at a constant speed, but it's warped and bended by things around it. Einstein discovered that time is relevant. He explained space-time like a flat cloth that bends when you put things with mass on it. These bends in space-time is what we call gravity, as objects that move through space-time curve around objects with mass, like the Earth orbiting the Sun. Einstein discovered that while objects get curved by gravity, time itself is also distorted. This means that objects moving closer to the speed of light perceive time slower. But this hardly affects everyday life, as the distortions are too small to notice. Even astronauts that spend months in space are only younger by a few milliseconds compared to the people on Earth. While fast objects perceive time slower, strong gravity also bends space-time. This can be interesting when looking at extremes like black holes, which are the densest thing we've ever found. Scientists say that if you were to fall into a black hole and look back, time would fast forward to the point where you could watch stars burn out through their entire lifetime, and you'd watch the universe start to dim as all the stars burn out, watching the universe die along with you. And an onlooker would not see you fall into the black hole, but you'd stay in one place and slowly redshift out of the visible light spectrum. But while accelerating and slowing down time is possible, scientists wonder, will it be possible to go back in time, to fold time-space back on itself? While there are a few theories using negative energy and antimatter, travelling back in time does seem to be impossible for now. But this doesn't stop movies and TV shows from exploring the narrative possibilities by using time travel. Sometimes the time travel is a supernatural phenomenon that traps the characters beyond their control. Like in the butterfly effect or Erase, the time travel is out of their hands and sometimes never explained. But then there are movies where the time machine is intentionally made to go back in time, like Back to the Future or The Terminator. But it's interesting to look at the intricacies of the time travel and see how they solve problems like the grandfather paradox. Like in the movie Terminator, based on a dystopian future ruled by robots, they send back a robot to kill the mother of the human rebellion leader, which would prevent the rebellion from ever existing. The rebels also send back a human to stop the hitman and save the mother. While saving the mother, the rebel falls in love with her and gets her pregnant with Kyle, their son, who later on becomes the leader of the rebellion. We can see that this story is like a closed loop. The rebellion only exists because of the time travel, and in a way the future can't be changed. I like to call this a self-consistent or self-healing timeline, similar to a rubber band, where no matter what you do, it'll always bend back to its original shape.
Should I tell you about your father? Boy, that's a tough one. Will it affect your decision to send him here, knowing that he is your father? If you don't send Kyle, you could never be. God, a person could go crazy thinking about this.
But closed loops are pretty restricted, as by definition the future can't be changed. So then we start looking at movies, where events in the past can alter the future. One such movie is Back to the Future. In Back to the Future, Marty is sent back in time, where he accidentally prevents his mother and father's first meeting, which leads to the moment they both fall in love. Unlike the Terminator, this causes Marty to go to an alternate timeline, which he doesn't realize until he meets back with the Doc. In this alternate timeline, Marty's parents never fall in love, meaning they never give birth to him or his siblings.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Okay, all right. Saturday's good. Saturday's good. I can spend a week in 1955. I can hang out. You can show me around.
Marty, that is completely out of the question. You must not leave this house. You must not see anybody or talk to anybody. Anything you do could have serious repercussions on future events. Do you understand?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Marty, have you interacted with anybody else today besides me?
Yeah, well, I might have sort of bumped into my parents.
Great Scott! Let me see that photograph again of your brother. Just as I thought. This proves my theory. Look at your brother.
His head's gone. It's like it's been erased.
Erased from existence.
If Marty's parents never fell in love and got married, they would have never given birth to Marty or his siblings. This would mean that Marty would never exist in this timeline, which is why he starts to get erased. The more Marty strays from his original timeline, the more he starts to fade away, as the chance of him existing becomes less and less. This differs from the Terminator, as now it is Marty's mission to go back to his original timeline. With just these two movies, we can see a great difference in the way time travel is presented, from the unchangeable future of the Terminator to the alternate realities and infinite possibilities of Back to the Future. But even so, this is only scratching the surface of the possibilities of time travel in movies. You see, the possibilities are almost endless, like in the movie Live, Die, Repeat, where every time the character dies, he is sent back to a certain point in time in which he can retry the day, but this time with the knowledge from his previous lives, until he finds a way to defeat the aliens invading Earth. Or something completely different like the movie Interstellar, which tries to explain all the science and reasons behind the time distortions, like planets with such a strong gravity that what feels like 1 hour is actually 7 human years. You can see how there's many different approaches to time travel in movies, and each one is interesting if you look at the intricacies behind it. From seeing whether it's a closed loop or a universe where the future can be changed by the events of the past. In the end, until science figures out a way, or proves that it is impossible, the possibilities of time travel will remain endless.